Hello and welcome back to Heal for Real. I am Carissa, and today we are talking about the most painful part of narcissistic abuse. Why do the people still support the narcissist? You know who the person is, but everyone else still thinks that the person is wonderful, charming, caring, loving, and an all-around upstanding citizen, but we know better. This video is for the survivors who are left saying, now that I know the truth, why doesn't everybody else see it? All right, welcome to the most lonely part of healing. When everyone seems to be supporting the narcissist, it can be very frustrating, almost debilitating part of the breakup. It's one thing to be abused, and it's a whole different ball game when everybody else around you, they still love the person who basically tormented the heck out of you and abused and almost destroyed you. They're getting pretty much all these likes on social media, and that's one thing I need to tell you. You do not need to be following them on social media. You do not need to be checking up on them on social media. So all your little ghost accounts and stuff like that, just let it go. Go ahead and block them while you're at it. And I'm gonna discuss why you need to do that in another video. But today we're gonna stick with the topic about why these people love these people so. All right? So they're getting all these likes on social media. Meanwhile, you're sitting there knowing the truth. You got it right there in your hands and nobody believes you. All right. And so why nobody believes you? All right. No one believes you because they have on this public mask and they have to maintain that image. They don't just manipulate one person. They have manipulated their audience or anyone who's on the outside seeing them. They want to be loved. They have a need to be liked. They need a public, but anyway, it's all about them, and they need this public, and they put on this public facade that they are wonderful. And why do the people like them? The same reason you like them. The same reason you was bamboozled right in that thing. They need everyone's energy, not just yours. They can't get it from you anymore or their past survivors, because that's what you are. They can't get it from the past survivors, so they basically still have the spares. They have like all the little fans, their little fan club. They have all of them to like them. So they don't have to necessarily get it from you, and they definitely don't want to destroy the image that they have with the public, because they're gonna need that. Because either way it goes, the narcissist is gonna get it from somewhere, whether it be another supply or the public or the world around them, okay? They create an image, and best believe they got to maintain that image, baby. They have to keep that image going. They cultivate followers. And if you've dealt with the type of narcissist that I have dealt with, they are, somewhat of public figures. They are people who are always in the spotlight or always leading something. If they're in it, they got to be the one to lead. They're part of these organizations and these groups and things like that, and they definitely when they go in, they don't just join. They have to lead. They have to be the center of attention. They suck up big time publicly. All right. And it makes you sick because, meanwhile, you still fixing the chaos that they cause. You are still trying to pick up the broken pieces while they're out there and everybody's just loving on them. They're out there, kissing babies and mentoring youth and feeding the homeless and visiting shelters. And you're going to know that they're doing all that because guess what they're doing? They posted it on social media. They have to put everything they do on social media. Everything they do It doesn't matter if they have given the homeless man $1, they putting it on social media. Everybody's gonna know, because I have to put this image inside, embed this image inside everybody's brain out there, that I am this wonderful human being, and what would the world do without me? That way, if anyone was to say anything about me, you would never believe it. They're doing it for a reason. When people are talking about them, it was like, oh yeah, I saw that where they did this and this and this for their mentorship program, and you know they're doing this, that, and the third, and I saw them doing all that. They must be a wonderful father. No, they're not. They're neglecting their own child, because doing this with your own child is not going to give you as much admiration as you publicly doing it with this huge group. It's a lot of them, and they can see what I'm doing, and I can put this out there, where this one child, no, I'm not going to receive as much admiration for this one child, which is my own, than I would for the public. So think of it like this. There are two versions of the narcissist, all right? There's one part that they display for the world, and then that's the public version. And then there's the part that you get. And the part that they display for the world is the part that brought you in. That's the part that you were getting in the beginning. But towards the end, when they're sick of you and they need, they just want to play with you a little bit, then you're going to get that other part. All right. The public part is basically the marketing strategy to sell the cruise packages to Hell's Island. And the public version is the version that is charming and funny and helpful and generous and polite and kind and spiritual. And then the other part, or the private version, or the one that you get, is the one that's critical, dismissive, cold, controlling, entitled, explosive, and manipulative. Think of it like this. This is basically the whole review of Hades cruise ship to Hell's Island. So this is your review on Google about them. You're telling everybody that they're critical and they're dismissive and how they were doing all these things to control you. You're the one, you're out there giving it, 0 stars, not recommending it all. But people are going to believe the mask because they only see the version that is selling the trip to Hell's Island. They're always marketing. That mask never, ever slips. Almost never, ever slips. I'm going to say that. Almost never, ever slips on its constituents, okay? So think about Puff Daddy or P. Diddy or whatever his name is. Think about it's only a few more times not than did where people kind of caught the mask slipping. That is why, and I understand to some people that issue might have been a little minute, and it's not enough for him to do any time or whatever. But like I said, being a victim of narcissistic abuse, I ain't got nothing for him. If you're a butthole and you've done things that are detrimental to other people, and I don't feel sorry for them or anything, because I feel like until people stop them, it's only going to get worse. And they're going to see what else they're going to see how far they can go and how much they can get away with. The people don't believe you because they're only seeing the actor, not the real person. They're only seeing the facade. And baby, these people can act. They're acting, and you're not recognizing the acting until, they just done ran out. And when I tell you that these people act, oh my gosh. And I'm not sure if I was just in a position, I'm about to give you an example here. I don't know if I'm just in a position where I was in a position where, it just wasn't working on me anymore or whatever. But I swear, I noticed like towards the end that I would see where it always felt, when I would describe it to people, it always felt like I was in some kind of soap opera. But I remember being sick, and I don't know what it was he did, but I was getting on him about something. I was just going in and fussing. But I mean, I was literally like really ill. And I'm gonna pretend this water bottle is me and I'm them. And I just remember, and this is just how corny it was when you look at it now, but then, when you're all love struck, you're not really seeing that. But anyway, so now, I was just going in, that's me going in. And they were just like, shh, you need to get your strength back. And I'm like, I couldn't even finish what I was saying for like, is this clown serious? So he was the subject of Rihanna's song, How About a Round of Applause? That's just how they well, it might not be how they act, but I'm just giving you a good example. I really just want to throw that in there just so y'all know what kind of fool I was dealing with. The people around are looking at you like you're the problem. But once you get off Hell's Island and you're giving these bad reviews and you're just letting everybody know what you experience, they're not understanding it. They're not understanding. First of all, they're not understanding because you done dealt with it so long. You done left and came back. And in the meantime, while you doing all this leaving and coming back, had you left the first time, I think, and left and stayed there, they probably would have been like, but it was like, no, they're looking at you like it must be you, because they're doing all this and I'm seeing them do all this, and then you keep going back and forth, then it's you. I have been the audience that thought that before, like they kept leaving, and the person was telling me that they keep leaving, and I'm like, why they keep leaving? Like, when you're doing all this, and I can see how you're just so giving, and everybody's looking at that. So now they're looking at you like you got to be crazy, and they can't be all that bad. They've already painted this image, so they already have this public image out there. Meantime, they torment you at home, basically. And once you break up, that they're already ahead of the story. They didn't already painted the picture that you crazy. They've already painted the picture that, you might be promiscuous. They might paint the picture that you just jump from man to man. They've already painted the picture that you cheating on them. They have already painted, so basically they painted the picture of everything that they did, you did. They already painted the picture that you are entitled, that you just want to take and take and take. And they've tried to give and give and give until they just couldn't do it anymore. They've already painted the picture that they broke up with you. They're out there smearing your name. They're out there, running the shame campaign on top of their marketing campaign for Hell's Trip. But they're out there smearing your name and talking about you and saying what it is you did and what they just couldn't take anymore, and woe is me, and I'm the victim, and they blah blah blah, and just trying to ruin your good reputation, which is why it's great. Now, you might not be out there sucking up to the public, but however, it is always good to just have a good reputation. And it's also good not to the people, only talk about the person to the people you trust. Do not talk about these people to just everybody. Don't show that you're in pain. Don't show them that you're uncomfortable. They're out there running a smear campaign, and if they're out there talking about you and you're not having anything bad to say, guess who's gonna look crazy? Them. Oh, if you're out there giving bad reviews on about Hell's Island, and they're out there running their own smear campaign or whatever, people are just not going to believe you. They're going to believe what they see, and it's just going to make you look unstable, jealous, and bitter. And sometimes you might look like the one that's the abuser, depending on what they said, if that makes any sense. And plus, when I say that they're already, putting in the work to smear your name, before you even get to it, and which has happened to me, where I wasn't saying anything about the person, and I was no longer, I guess, in the position to talk to the acquaintances that we both had. They had put out there that I was crazy or whatever, or tried to. They actually put out there that they broke up with me. They put out there that they broke up with me until, like, those same people, or some of those same people, had to come to me to get their hair done. And I was able to tell them, like, my story. It came up, and I was able to tell them. It was like, oh, wait a minute. He said that you blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, and I got the receipts to prove it. So, and keep your receipts too. Keep your receipts. Document everything. You don't have to let anybody know, but document everything. So the narcissist knows, if they believe you, basically, that their mask is gonna crumble. So they gotta go out there before you hit the streets. They gotta go out there and campaign, okay? Their story. Eventually, when you do share your story, or you do tell some people, like, you're not only fighting the narcissist, you're gonna be fighting them. They're gonna come at you, because you're gonna be fighting with the boat ride guests and their fan club, and also the term flying monkeys. You're going to be fighting against the flying monkeys, because they're not believing you. They're not believing you because of the image that they have on display. And a lot of times, people want to believe the lie. When the truth comes out, people still want to believe what they want to believe. And they don't want to believe that this person is bad. They don't. Sometimes they don't want to admit that they may have been wrong about something. Sometimes we have our pride, and we don't want to admit that we were wrong. And in the event that they're smearing your name to the new supply, of course the new supply doesn't want to believe it, I know in my case, I couldn't believe it because I wasn't seeing that. So how could I believe it? I'm seeing something else. Like, if I was told that, I'm like, no, he would never do that. So they're saying things like that. They're like, he would never do that. Or she ain't never did me like that. Well, y'all just don't get along. And if y'all don't get along, that don't mean that I can't get along with them. And maybe you might be misinterpreting, like, what happened. And it hurts to watch the people defend the person who did you dirty. It's like you didn't have a voice in the relationship, and now you don't have a voice now because nobody's hearing you. Most important thing is you knowing your truth. You know your truth, you got out. The people that believe them, let them go ahead and believe them. Because one day, just like in the P. Diddy case, or whoever else that, that have been putting on blast in public, it's gonna come down. And this is where I know my relationship with God is stronger. I have placed it in God's hands. And what better source to deal with an enemy or someone who has mishandled me, or mishandled his child, or did me wrong? What better source to handle that than God? Let them dig their own hole, all right? Let them take their shovel and dig their own hole, because the truth will come out eventually one day. No worries. Or not even the truth. They will get their karma. And honestly, they're already dealing with their karma. These people are fighting demons inside. I'm going to leave you with this. You're not crazy. Once again, you have figured it out, and you got off of hell's shipboat, all right, on the way to Hades Island. It can be lonely, but it gives you so much power when you're dealing with this and you're sitting with yourself. Because once the mask falls off for you, basically they'll never fool you again. And honestly, when you know it from a mile away, and nobody else can fool you that way either. All right. So in the meantime, you're praying for your own peace. You're praying for them. You're praying that, you know, that they will be in a situation where they're going to see their ways. And that's all that matters. Your peace is all that matters. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I want you to drop a comment and tell me, you're a narcissist. Do they still have everyone fooled? And basically, how do you feel about it? And once again, thank you for joining me. Remember again to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, you know, your thoughts or, you know, what's going on with your narcissist. And also share this with people you care about. All right. Till next time, be blessed, everyone.